Well, after about 2 months without rain, we finally got some in the forecast. So we're gonna head out to the front field today. We're gonna try to get it disced up again and get it planted in pasture grass. But the first thing I need to do is I've actually got some bolts loose on the back of this tractor. We need to tighten them up first and then hook up the disc. Yeah, these bolts back here are loose. I believe this holds the assembly that holds the drawbar, which we're gonna be using today. There's a few more bolts underneath, but they seem to be tight. And we'll hit these ones on the drawbar. So up here in the north field, last fall, we planted this side in pasture grass. It turned out beautiful. This fall, we're gonna plant this side. So I believe that side's probably about 5 acres. This is gonna be about 7 that we're planting today. So let's go ahead and get discing. All right, just finished up disking the field and trying to break this up some more. It's been a few weeks since I disked it, trying to get it more powdered up, make a better seed bed for grass seed. And you know, some spots, like look right here, that looks really good. I mean, that's a small clod. I mean, it's powdered up pretty good. And you come over here, and then it's just like big clods of clay and a little bit rougher. So not perfect, but it's gonna have to work. But one of the things I'm trying to go to a little bit of effort here, because I want to, besides making a good seed bed, I want to make it where the field's actually fairly smooth afterwards. So when you're riding a tractor through here, and if we ever cut this pasture for hay, it's not such a rough ride. So before I put any seed on the ground, I'd like to go ahead and run a roller and a drag over it. I think at the same time. I'm going to put them together, and we're just going to roll and drag this entire field, try to smooth it out, and then we'll spread seed. right, just went over the field one time, and I don't know if you can really tell if it looks much different or not, but I do think it helped out a little bit. Helped fill in some of the furrows that the disc made, and just helped, I think, level everything out, maybe break up some of these clods a little bit with the roller. So now let's head back to the barn. We'll get the spreader on the tractor, we'll get it filled with pasture seed, and we'll get this planted. So I've got a total of 7 50-pound bags of pasture seed. When you broadcast seed a pasture, a lot of times they suggest about 35 pounds an acre. And then since we got about 7 acres, we're gonna have about 50 pounds an acre. I go a little heavy. So these 3 bags on the right, they have orchard grass, timothy, tall fescue, and medium red clover. This green bag is Kentucky 32 tall fescue, which is an endophyte-free tall fescue. And then these 3 bags of green seed, they have orchard grass, perennial ryegrass, timothy, medium red clover, alfalfa, and ladina clover in those. So we ought to have a good variety out there in the pasture once it grows. We just need to mix these together, and we'll just do that in the hopper. All right, got the hopper all filled up, and then I still have 2 1/3 bags left over. So hopefully I can go over the field one time and not run out, and then we can fill it back up and we can go over the field a second time. At least that's what I'm hoping for. Man, it seemed like I was flying through the field. I was going just over 7.5 miles an hour, going back and forth, and I didn't quite get the entire field covered. I really needed to do one more pass up here along the north fence, and then this right there, that's all I got left in there. So we may have to make some adjustments to try to go over the field a second time with the amount we have left, because we've already used up 2/3. So we'll head back, put the rest in the hopper, and hopefully we get it all covered. So to adjust the seed rate, I basically have 2 choices. One is going to be the speed of the tractor, and I feel like I'm going pretty fast the way it is. And the other is going to be how fast the seed falls through to the spreader. And that's a gate opening down here. It's like the little seed gate right here, how much that opens up. So I'm just going to pinch down that gate a little bit more so it's not opened as much, and hopefully we can make this last the entire field. So on the second pass, I'm gonna go the opposite direction. I'm gonna go north-south instead of east-west, and hopefully we get it all covered. I will make one pass on the area that I missed, but I need to get going because it looks like we got a little thunder shower right here. May not amount to much, but I just don't wanna get all that seed wet in the hopper. Well, it didn't quite beat the rain. It ended up getting the hopper wet, which caused the grass to stick to the hopper. You can see, hopefully you can see it's all stuck to the sides there. But it did run out, didn't make it completely around. Probably got 3/4 of it. I'd say, yeah, roughly 3/4 of it. Got a second pass. So just section right here is just a little lightly seeded. a little more lightly seeded than the rest. You can hear there's thunder going on right now. So I think I'm gonna head inside. We're gonna wait this out and see how much rain we get. But we're actually supposed to get rain, possibility of rain over the next, what, 5-6 days, something like that. So it's been 2 days now since I planted the front half of this field. It did end up raining more into the night after I planted, and then it rained last night and this morning. So we've got a decent amount of rain, and we needed it really bad. And there's still a chance of rain the next few days this week. So I'll take any of that I can get, and hopefully this grass will germinate and we'll have a nice pasture next year. So today I'm gonna be working out here in the workshop trying to get everything organized. And one of the projects that I've had planned is to put up some more Omni wall. It's a metal pegboard system. So I'm gonna put up a section right above this toolbox. It's gonna hold all of like my mechanics tools. So it'll be like wrenches, sockets, screwdrivers, hammers, stuff like that hanging on the wall there. And then here between the windows, I'm gonna put up another metal pegboard here, and it's gonna hold all of my cordless power tools. And then of course, all of the batteries are gonna be down here right below it on the workbench. I think that's gonna work out pretty good. Other than that, I've just got a bunch of junk in here laying on the floor. I need to move stuff around, get stuff put away. I need to make some room just so I can get back here and put the pegboard in. So let's go ahead and get started. So right here is the metal pegboard system that I just bought, Omni wall. I've bought this before. I got the exact same pegboard in the woodworking shop where I've got a tool wall in there, and I really like it. But it's premium stuff, it really is. I bought this on Father's Day, around Father's Day when it was on sale. So I highly suggest you wait for a sale. There'll probably be one around Christmas time for this. So the first thing I gotta do is I got these metal cleats that mount to the wall, and then the pegboard's attached to these. I'm gonna see if I can get all the pegboard up, and then we'll start doing the tool holders. So now it's time to grab all the different tool holders, get them on the pegboard and arranged exactly the way we want to. And that's the reason why I like this pegboard system. There's several out there you can buy, but the way this one is, you can mount two different ways. So when you look at the pegboard itself, you have slots. So a lot of the tool holders will just lock into the slots. And then you have the holes like you would on a normal pegboard system, and you can use the holes to mount things as well. So you can mount two different ways, but once you get everything arranged exactly the way you want, you can put in these plastic push pins and it will lock the tool holders in place. So you don't have to worry about grabbing a wrench and then the tool holder falling out like it would on an old style pegboard system. So that's the real reason I really like this, is just because you can just lock everything down. You don't have to worry about them falling out. First thing I'm going to install is a wrench holder. I'm going to put this at the top so all the wrenches hang down. Now this here, it is specifically to hold sockets. So I've got one for metric and standard. So here's the socket holders. They're magnetic. They could just magnetize right to the board. I'm gonna try these holders out, see what I think of them. So you got one for 1/2 inch sockets, 3/8 sockets, and 1/4 inch sockets. All right, I transferred all my sockets over here from my rolling toolbox. You can see I'm missing several sockets. Now, one thing I will note, on the 1/4 and 3/8 inch, you have a row of shorts and then you have a row of long sockets. So you have 2 lengths of sockets on those. Now the 1/2 inch, you only have 1 length. And then in the back, you have holes for socket extensions and socket wrenches that you can store back there. And then I had a little extra room right here on the tray. I've got like swivel socket adapters there. This here is a rubber gloves holder or dispenser. Paper towel holder. All right, I think this one's good enough for now. So I've got some hammers I put right here in the middle between the wrenches and the sockets. Over here, I've got this little 5-inch shelf. I've got a couple of spray cans on here. Tape measures can clip right on the front edge right there. I got a small pliers holder to hold a few pliers, crescent wrenches, screwdrivers, and then right here I'm planning to put metric nut drivers and standard nut drivers. And then I still have a little bit of space right there, maybe just a little bit of space here, but I think that's good enough for now. Let's move on to the power tools, see if we can get them all hung up. All right, I've got all of my cordless tools up here on the wall. They even had holders specifically for hanging angle grinders. But you can see I've got extra space down here, a little bit of extra space up there. So if I end up getting a few more tools, I do have some extra hooks and I'll be able to get them hung up. So I was a little concerned that these socket trays were going to stick out so far, cover up part of the workbench, but the workbench is actually smaller than the pegboard, so it's only covering up just a little bit of that corner. So really not too bad. Pretty happy with the way this all turned out. Well, the next thing I want to do is I want to get this vise stand mounted to the floor. This used to be mounted in the woodworking shop, and I've removed it. I removed it a while ago. I've been missing having a vise stand, that's for sure. But I'm gonna put it here right in this column in between the garage doors, and I don't think it'll be in the way. All right, I think I got the vise stand where I want it. All right, I got my vise stand mounted again. It's amazing how much you miss this when you don't have it. The next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get my grinder mounted. I've never had the grinder like anchored to the floor, and it just moves around on me. So it needs a home. I think this is gonna work. All right, I'm using drop-in anchors. You have to have a setting tool to set the anchor in place, and then you just use a regular bolt to be able to bolt them to the ground. Good thing about these anchors is if you unbolt them, you don't have anything sticking up out of the concrete. All right, my jet grinder has a home. And you can see that the guard is missing from this side. And that happened because I ended up knocking the grinder over. It fell on the floor and that guard shattered. It was only made out of cast aluminum. I was a little bit disappointed. I figured jet was a little bit better than that. But I'm gonna have to order a new piece so that I can put that guard back together. Well, I have continued to clean up on the workshop and it's got dark on me. I'm gonna show you the side of the garage that I don't normally show. I've been working on it over the last month or so. It's not 100% done, but it's coming along pretty good. So if we look over here on our shelving unit, I have got a bunch of totes. I think I picked these up at Menards for they're on sale for like $7 a piece. Got 18 of these. Got 4 smaller totes up there. We got 3 other totes right there. Got them all labeled. You know, miscellaneous farm supplies, camping gear, PVC pipe fittings, painting supplies. It's just full of different things, all organized. And then up here is my small parts organizers. So you can see we've got them all labeled here. On top I've got, this one is full of sheet metal screws here. Most of this is electrical stuff. And then right here, this is all outdoor screws. And then this is some pipe fittings there. More totes on this side full of stuff. And then down here we got buckets. We've got, floor jacks and jack stands and stuff down there. And then I still have this mess right here that I need to go through and get sorted out. And some of the stuff I'd like to find a new home for because I've got all my chainsaws are down there. Of course, I got the weed eater. We've got the pole saw. We've got axes. We got a bunch of stuff here. I would like to find a new home for some of these tools. And then over here, I still got the stack of wood that I had cut up at the sawmill. I haven't done anything with it yet. Everybody told me I needed to strap this down to keep it from buckling. So I did end up buying like 3 sets of ratchet straps to wrap around this. And then I was gonna eventually find a spot out in the bank barn and set it out there. But this needs to go out of here at some point in time. And then down here, we still got some feed. Pigs will be gone here pretty soon, so this pallet will be gone. So slowly getting the shop all cleaned up and organized. It's just taken me a long time. One of these is different than the rest. End up buying one that doesn't match. I don't think it'll work. So I've been waiting for a rainy day so I can finally come out here in the shop and try to organize and get everything cleaned up, try to get this pegboard mounted. I've had this sitting in a box for a few months now, and get all my tools organized and up on the wall. And that's what I've been doing. Last 2 days I've spent all day out here, probably 10 hours each day. And yesterday I didn't film anything, but I did a lot of electrical stuff. So I ended up moving some stuff around. I ended up moving some lights. Gonna add an additional light on the ceiling on that side. And then I'm adding another 50 amp welding receptacle on that side of the shop as well. And then I'm working on a farm Wi-Fi network. So I've mounted a Wi-Fi antenna up here on the outside of the workshop, and it's gonna broadcast. And then I've got some other Wi-Fi antennas that I need to put on the other side of the farm. I'll show that in another video. But then that way I can have some more security cameras on the farm. I can have some, when I add solar to the other side of the farm, it can be on the Wi-Fi network as well. And then anytime we're on the property, we can just pick up the Wi-Fi, network. So I've been pretty busy the last couple days, but overall this is the best this shop has looked in the last couple years, at least this side of the shop with the, where it's more of a garage, mechanics, fabrication area. This area, this is the best it has looked in a long time. Now I know I still got a little bit of clutter over on that side of the shop. I'll have to go through that and get it organized, but overall it's looking really good. Now the trick is gonna be to keep it that way, right? I'm my own worst enemy. Like I really wanna be organized. I really want everything to have its own place. But then when it comes to the end of the day and you're tired from working on something, I have trouble taking the time to clean it up, put all my tools back, and then everything just gets all cluttered again. So that's what I gotta work on, is I really gotta work on me and see if I can just keep everything organized. But it's 7:45 in the evening now, so I've been out here long enough. I think I'm gonna head inside. So hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you next time.